literally, if I put on makeup and I put on an outfit, I'm going to get a lot of bang for my buck. I've done 3 in a night and I'm not ashamed. I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Okay, I'm actually really looking forward to chatting with this one. She's made a name for herself as a content creator and a relationship expert. I know you've seen her in her extremely popular videos about dating advice. The best part is that you call yourself TikTok's older sister. Ladies and gentlemen, I have Tinx with me today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me on. I'm so excited for our conversation. I know it's going to be a good one.
I know. I'm very, very excited to talk to you. So you give dating advice. You talk about celebrities. You talk about mental health. You were on the Forbes 2022 top creator list.
It was such an honor. I mean, it was really, really cool to be recognized in that way. And, digital creators were still a new field. So just the fact that they're recognizing online creators is very, very cool. And I just felt so grateful to be a part of that list.
Yeah, that is like huge. That is huge. Do they just like,
cool.
how does Forbes contact you? Do they just come out of left field?
Yeah, they get in touch with your team and they want to see, the numbers. They want to crunch the numbers. They want to just kind of weigh your overall influence and what have you. So it's really, really a big honor. I couldn't believe that I was included and some of the other people on the list. The fact that I was even like mentioned in the same like realm as them is so insane to me, but very cool. Very cool.
Well, that's awesome. First of all, I'm so into talking to anyone that's a relationship expert because I just love that. That's my thing. Like, I really do. First of all, like Joe and I think that we are relationship experts.
No, but I was going to say the reason that you probably like to talk to people who talk about relationships is that you do have a very strong relationship and it's one that has really stood the test of time and been out there in the public. And I love your guys' relationship. And I think that so many people think of you guys as literally #relationship goals. So it's no wonder. And I think that you're very like active with talking about it. And I really agree with that. I don't think that there can be any great partnership without like talking about it. Like it's work, when you're joined in a union with someone, it's definitely work. But if you say, hey, like I'm committed, I'm going to make this work. Like, let's make it fun. Let's work on it together. That's the recipe for success. So, I think you have seriously one of the healthiest relationships in the public eye. And I respect it. And I want to know the secrets. Like, it's very cool.
Thank you. That's so sweet. Thank you. Well, I think that we definitely have our ups and downs, but I think we've always been very vocal. Like we're not the type that play it like, oh, we're great. We're perfect. We tell the truth. Fortunately, we do get along really well. We are like best friends
you have fun with it. I think that's why it's so fun to watch and you guys feel so, it's like such a nice thing to see because you guys do have fun with each other. And I think that's like at the basis of every great relationship is like you enjoy each other. Like you just said, you're best friends.
Right. And I get so many questions and DMs from listeners that a lot of their questions, if Joe and I are going to be on the podcast together, are relationship questions. They want to know, like, how do you guys stay married for 18 years and still have so much fun together and manage to raise 3 kids and work so much? And it's like, we just, obviously him and I have a lot of energy. I always say that, like, we're not the type, like we want to live. We're lifers. We want to go. We got things to do, places to go. We fit it all in. But we don't get lazy in our relationship. And I feel like a lot of people get lazy. Right?
Yeah.
You hear this?
I agree with you completely. And I really do think that your guys' energy, like you're never just like letting things coast. You each have your own interests, but you're coming back and you're helping each other with your businesses and your ideas and you're joking and you're raising your kids. Like there's always something. And I think that that's also why your relationship is so strong because it's like, you like to keep busy and that's like, that's how I am too. So I think that that's why like I aspire to have a relationship like yours. Cause it's not that I don't like to relax, but I'm a go person. And so I think that it's important to find someone who matches you at your level. And listen, if you're not, that's okay too, but then find someone who likes to chill a bit more because it's very important to be matched on energy levels, I think.
Okay. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I agree with that 100%. And I'll tell you why. a lot of friends that we know and just people in general, they can be even acquaintances that know like my relationship. And the biggest complaint in a lot of their relationships is that one wants to go,
Yep.
go. One wants to go out. The other one wants to stay home. One
Yeah.
wants to have fun. The other one could care less. They want to be on the couch at 9 o'clock. They don't want a vacation as much. So I do think like when people are picking someone, it's a bigger
100%.
deal than you think
Yeah.
to pick someone that's on your same speed, because eventually it does separate you guys. It does.
100%. No, I think you're so right on that. And like for me, I know even after I have kids, I want to be out and about. That's just who I am. Like I've stopped judging myself for that. And it's just like, I like to be out and about. I like to have friends. I'm not going to be one of those people who has their kids and then, doesn't speak to anyone again, which by the way, no disrespect to that. That's how my parents kind of were. So I'm just like, ugh, like couldn't be me. I don't want that. But like, I need someone who is like, yeah, we're having a social life and going out and going on trips, just us two, and really just investing in each other. And it's so important to match energies. It really is. Cause as you said, it can drive you apart. That's like for my friends too, are like already they're like, oh God, like he wants to go out and I want to be in and blah, blah, blah. Like he's out again without me. And I'm like, well, why don't you go? And they're like, well, I don't want to. And I'm like, okay, fair enough. That's, you shouldn't do anything you don't want to do, but it's important, I think at the highest level to want to spend time the same way. Like overall, have the same interests.
That's the biggest thing, how you're going to spend your time and where you're going to spend it together. Just like you said, I have friends that are home and he's out, or vice versa. I know a couple that he could care less to go out and she needs to be at every restaurant all the time, wants to go out every weekend, and she'll end up on girls' nights constantly. And vice versa. The other ones end up on guys' nights. Because they don't vibe the same that way. So I do think that's like it's a huge thing.
Yeah.
Talk to me how did you name yourself TikTok's old? First of all, you're what, 32?
I'm 32. You know what? It wasn't even me who said it. It was an article written about me and it really caught on. And, I'm honored that people think of me that way. It's so sweet that people think of me that way. I think it's just that I was like a little bit older, especially when I started. Like as an influencer on TikTok, and I do like to give advice, and I have been through a lot of life experiences. So, and I love to give advice. So it just kind of caught on, but yeah, I feel very lucky that people come to me for advice and that they view me in that way.
So you just started to create content and put it out on TikTok about like marriages, advice. Like give me one example of what you would say.
More, it would be like, I love a little rule or I love a little trick, for example, saying, if a guy likes you, he'll text you, and just like talking about that notion, or like saying, if a guy doesn't confirm on the day of the date, don't go on the date because it means he doesn't respect your time, and just like debating those things. And, or friendship things, that like I have all these little rules and tricks that I've learned over the years, and I would just put them out there, have a discussion with people. You don't have to agree with me, of course, but it's just interesting to talk about that stuff, because I think that's what life is about to me. I'm very into just being with friends, conversing about, what's working in our lives. Like, what are the things that you've picked up along the way? How can we help others that way? Especially girl to girl. It's so important that we share these tips. I didn't have an older sister. I literally always wanted an older sister or whatever. And I think for me, just my female friendships are so important. And really, this is all born out of my love of that bond.
Right. Well, you have a huge community of followers on your Instagram, on your TikTok. You have a podcast and you have a radio show on Sirius, right?
I love it. Yeah. I feel so lucky. My community is amazing. It's a lot of like-minded people who are like, work hard, play hard. We like pop culture. We like the movies. We like concerts. We like dating. We are just kind of like go, go, go people, as we've been saying. So I feel very lucky. I learn so much from my community as well as give them advice too. It's really a two-way street. So it's very cool.
Well, last week I was actually talking to Joe. We were on the podcast and we were discussing like yellow flags in relationships, right? So it's like, a red flag when you see a red flag and you're like, wow, get him out of here. Like this guy's no good. Or if your girlfriend's dating somebody, right? But what do you feel about yellow flags where it's kind of like, in between, like how, for all of my listeners that are out there dating, like how serious should they take a yellow flag?
I think that it's important to take note of that stuff. I always say in the beginning stages of when you're dating someone, imagine that you're a scientist and that you're collecting data. And it's so good to be vigilant about all those little things. Like, when you're dating someone and it's exactly what you're saying, like a yellow flag, and it's not outright like big enough to dump them, but it's just something like collect that piece of data and just store it in your little book. Because I think that sometimes when we start to date someone, we can get so caught up in like the idea of them and like what it could be. Like, I'm the same way. I'm not saying I'm perfect. I start dating someone and I'm like, oh my God, like I can see myself marrying him in Florida in 2023 and whatever. And you just kind of go blind to all those little things. But it's important to think, okay, like, he didn't call me for 12 hours. Like, how does that make me feel? Or he didn't follow up when I said that, like, I was going to the doctor for my broken toe. Like, how does that make me feel? Like, not an overt thing, but just like a yellow flag. You have to keep notice of them, because if it's one, it's one. If it's 10, then we got a problem. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And I feel like your first couple dates, they are like information overload, right?
Yeah,
it's like, you're literally figuring out everything. You're hearing all the answers. You're finding out everything. So you're basically, you have to take notes on all the data that's coming through.
You really do. Yeah. Yeah. It's so much new information when you're dating someone and you're trying to figure out like who this person is. But I think it's so important to figure out how that person makes you feel. Like, you can try to get to know someone as fast as possible, but you're still really not going to know them for months, right? But what's important is how they make you feel. So when you leave the date with them, do you feel funny? Do you feel cool? Do you feel sexy? Like, that's a good indicator of someone who is great for you.
You know what? That is an awesome, I think, listen to you. I love that you're so like, you really do know, because that just hit home for me. Like, if that's such a great thing, like, how do you feel when you leave? Are you dancing on a cloud? Are you on cloud 9? Are you like, I don't know. I think that's a huge telling thing right there, is like, how do you feel when you leave them?
Yeah, totally. And like,
or her.
Similarly, if you're really nervous to text them, and like, if you have to draft the text a million times and screenshot to your friends and say, oh, what do you think I should say? In my opinion, probably not your person. Like, when you can just flow and like go back and forth with someone, and listen, I like texting and all of the modern dating stuff is a nightmare. And to anyone out there going through it, like, I get it completely. 'Cause it's like they Instagram me and then you have to text them back and then there's Snapchat, whatever. But like, if you're drafting the text to them and you don't know what to say and you're nervous, probably not your person. Because when it's your person or someone that you're going to date, at least you're just going to flow. You're not going to think about it. You're just going to hit them back and be like, oh my God, I did see that movie. So funny. Like, yeah, blah, 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 blah. Like, my whole 20s, I was like, screenshot the text to my friends. Guys, what do you think I should say? Okay, maybe if I say this, maybe if I put 1 exclamation point, it will be better than if I put 2, or should I put it in, like, that stuff, it doesn't matter.
A change of season means longer days, better outdoor activities, and more ways to get healthier, including checking in on your health and wellness. With Everlywell, you can take action today by taking one of their at-home lab tests or by adding their vitamins and supplements into your daily routine. Everlywell is digital healthcare designed for you, all at an affordable and transparent price. With over 30 at-home lab tests, you'll be able to choose the test that makes the most sense for you to get the answers that you need, like the women's health test or the food sensitivity test. Everlywell also has high-quality vitamins and supplements to support your overall health. Here's how it works. Everlywell ships products straight to you with everything needed in one package. To take your at-home lab test, simply collect your sample and use the included prepaid shipping label to mail your test back to a certified lab. Your physician-reviewed results get sent to your phone or device in just days, and you can share the results with your primary care physician to help guide next steps. If you ordered vitamins and supplements, you can start adding them to your daily routine right away. It's so simple, guys. Over 1 million people have trusted Everlywell to support their health and wellness goals. And you know what? You should too. And for listeners of the show, Everlywell is offering a special discount of 20% off an at-home lab test at everlywell.com/Melissa. That's everlywell.com/Melissa for 20% off your next at-home lab test. everlywell.com/Melissa. So what is like the number one question that you get from people? Like, what is everybody like, what is the most asked question, I would say, that everyone wants to talk to you about?
It's sad because the two that are probably the most common are firstly about ghosting. Like, I got ghosted and how do I get over that?
Right.
And then the second one is like, how can I get him to commit? And like, both of them make me really sad because I have been ghosted a lot of times myself. And I have been the girl who's like, I just want to make him my boyfriend. And then as I got older, I realized if someone ghosts you, it is a reflection of them and the lack of confidence and not about you. Like, all it means is they were too chicken shit to call you up and say, hey, actually, I don't want to go on any more dates anymore. Like, how difficult is that? Like, how difficult is it to just send a text and be like, actually, I'm good. Like, thanks. So that the other person isn't out of their mind wondering. And then the second one, like, I really want people to know that everybody deserves to have someone who wants them. It shouldn't be that you have to play them into being your boyfriend, or trick them, or mind games them, or manipulate them. Like, you deserve more than that. Like, you deserve someone who goes on a first date and is like, damn, like, she's really cool. I'm really into her. I'm going to ask her out again. Like, you shouldn't have to put up a thirst trap on Instagram stories to get them to remember that you're alive. You know what I mean?
100%. I mean, everything you say makes so much sense. Do you follow your own advice when you date? Do you always follow your own advice?
I do. I mean, I try for the most part. I am pretty good now with it because I've found that it's just like helpful it's just, it was all collected over years of being terrible at dating and being like having low self-esteem. And now I'm like, yeah, I do. Honestly, I shoot from the hip. I know what I like. I'm kind of just, it's one of the perks of dating when you're a little bit older. Another really question that I get asked a lot, which really makes me sad, is like younger girls are afraid to turn 30 if they're not married. And I just turned 32 and I am truly so grateful and happy for my life, like more than I ever have been before. And I'm like, you guys, your life doesn't end at 30. It honestly like begins at 30. Like, you're more confident, your worth, are hopefully in a better place in your career, and you just feel more yourself than ever. So, yeah, I do on the whole, follow my own rules.
I say that all the time. For me, 30 is like the golden year. Like 30 is an awesome time because it's you really come into your own. And if you're going to pick someone to marry and spend the rest of your life with, you're probably going to make a better decision after 100%. You turn 30 than you are when you're 22 or 23 or, it's like, you just know like yourself more.
Yeah. I was, and listen, that's not to say that some people don't meet the love of their life when they're 21, because it happens, and that's amazing.
Of
but
course.
I think for a lot of us, especially, if you're, a career person, you're living in a big city and you thought you were going to get married at 25, and then 25 passes and you're like, whoa, I'm not even ready to get married. I keep feeling myself change. Like, that's okay. You will find a person when you're ready to find them. And the more you develop yourself, the more you value yourself, the more you know what you want from your life, the higher quality partner you're going to attract. Right. So that 100%. Happens at all different times for some people, but don't fear if it hasn't happened by the age of 25.
What do you feel about like the apps? So are you more into like meet someone in person, or do you like the apps?
So I think that the apps, when they were created, it started off as a really great idea because it was, an efficient way to meet a lot of people. Unfortunately, what I think has happened is that people have started to use the apps as a validation tool and less as like a way to meet people. And by that, I mean, I think guys and girls, honestly, sit there and they scroll and they think, oh, I got a match. I'm hot. Oh, I got another match. I'm hot. Oh my God, I got 3 matches today. I'm hot.
Really? Like, what's wrong
and then
with
they
these
don't,
people?
and then they don't like meet up. That's another huge question that I get all the time. Tinx, like, I've matched with this guy and we've been talking for 3 weeks. He hasn't asked me out yet. Yeah, because he's getting all the validation that he needs. Like, for me, I don't get the pen pal thing. And I always say to girls, like, if you've been chatting with someone for 6 weeks on an app, you need to go to have a drink with them or go have a meal with them or go get a coffee with them, because until you do in person, you're never going to know if if there's a click.
And then you're wasting your time.
You're wasting all your time. And I do think, I'm going to make a generalization here. I think that women get more invested in the potential than men do on the whole. Massive generalization. But, that's
Agreed.
why I get so many questions where girls are like, I've been talking to him for 2 months on an app and like, I really like him. And I'm like, you haven't even like smelled him or like heard his laugh in person. Like, how can you know what I mean? And you've invested 2 months of your time. Meanwhile, this guy is probably matched with another 50 girls doing the exact same thing, going out with another one. Like,
Right.
you need to get in real life. Like, I think the apps are great as a tool. It's not an app like Instagram. People have started to use it as like a thing to do when they're waiting in a doctor's office and they're bored. They're just swiping. Like, it's great as a tool. Use it as a means to an end, to meet people. That's what it's for, to meet people, not to have endless conversations online. Like, we're not robots.
Right. I agree 100%. And what you said about smell, I just want to put a little note to that. Smell is huge.
Huge.
And I'm not talking about like someone who's smelly opposed
No.
smells
Yeah.
like deodorant or cologne. I'm talking about like, there's a real thing with smell and
Pheromones.
connection. Is
Yes.
this right?
Pheromones,
And so like certain
100%.
people, they do it for you, just the smell of their skin.
Yeah, it's a complete thing. And it's like, I believe in all that. Like, for me, I'm very into, like, I need to hear someone, the way they speak, they laugh, like they smell, like they hold themselves, like all that stuff really matters in attraction to me. Again, not to say that people can't meet people online. I have friends who are married from apps, but you know how they got married? They met up in person. They got a drink with the frickin' guy. You got to get off of the phone eventually.
Of course. We were just also, Joe and I actually were just talking about this as well. And I want to say that it's more men than women, but I really shouldn't say that because I don't know that for a fact. But there is a lot of men out there that are, I just said I wasn't going to say that. And then I said it, that need validation through like the DMs and the text messages,
100%,
right? They just want to know that you think they're hot, or like they want to just speak to you somehow, like either sexually or very flirtatious, but they don't actually ever want to meet up with you or see you. There's a lot of that out there. And even when they're with someone that they love or like very much, they still will take the compliments and the flirting, like validation, and they need that. And is that just a part of insecurity?
I think it's honestly to do with social media, because social media has made us all need so much more validation. And it's like, it's really sad, because I think you're right. Like, I do have to say it I know. I mean, I have no idea either if that's true, but I feel like men do seem to need a lot of validation online and like from a lot of sources. And it's sad, because it's like, we've seen it time and time again in the media and the public eye. It's like, why do you need to DM a girl? Like, if you're happy, if you have like, it's crazy. And it's just, social media has just made us think we need to have likes and comments every day, and that's, I'm of course guilty of that too. I'm a human being.
We all are. We
all are.
Yes.
But I'm trying so hard to like really acknowledge or like speak that when I feel it. Like, oh, I looked at my phone because I wanted to see if I got likes on this Instagram. Like, I really try to speak it or like think to myself, acknowledge it, because it's not normal how much we've trained our brains to need these like, like the serotonin, the rush or whatever. Like, they've even shown that really scary study where they showed that like in babies as young as like 2 or something, when the phone lights up, it like makes them happy because they feel like like serotonin coming from the phone. So it's like, now from the time we're kids, it's like whenever you see a notification, it's like, ooh, like validation or whatever. So it's really scary what we're doing to our brains.
It is scary. And I do have a lot of friends, including myself, sometimes that, if you post something, now they go back, you can tell they just posted something because they're back on their phone every 10 minutes, just seeing the comments and seeing the likes. And like, I do miss life. I don't know if you remember life without Instagram, but I do. And I miss it. I do miss it as much as I love
Yeah.
Instagram and appreciate it because it has helped me. I build a business as well on Instagram, right? And there's so many great parts of Instagram for me that are for business, to be honest.
Yeah.
I do love to share things. I love to see like there's so many people. That's the Facebook thing too, though, just from high school and all of these things that I would never know what they're doing or what their kids look like or anything. And so I'm thankful for social media, but I'm also like annoyed that I need to make sure that, you know, when we go somewhere, it's like, let's get the picture first and then enjoy the night. And that annoys me to this day. I get anxiety over that. I'm like, oh, we got to take the picture, you know? And it's like, it's almost become like it's a job. Instagram is a job. And I'm sure you feel that same with TikTok. If you getting notoriety on it and people want to hear from you, you're like, let me do something. Let me put something out there.
Yeah. And you can't switch it off because it's like you said, it's like you can't switch that part of your brain off. You go for a night out with your friends and like we all want to take a picture. Like that's the sad part. Like I miss life before. Like I was finished with college right as Instagram was coming out. And I have to say I'm really grateful that I did most of college without Instagram because I was just in the present. Like I had my little digital camera. Maybe I took some photos for Facebook, but it wasn't like the need. Like now it's like, everyone take your Instagram pictures. Okay. Everyone post them. What is everyone captioning it? Whatever. And it's like, gosh, like, again, I'm not shitting on Instagram because it is my life and my livelihood. And there's so many good parts. And I love connecting with people like you. I love sharing just like you said too, but it's like, I miss the simplicity of it. And I miss the ability to just be present, you know, because you can't really switch that part of your brain off.
You can. It's hard because we're kind of trained at this point.
Yeah.
Give me a little advice for dating. Like, first of all, is it okay to have 2 dates in the same day? Like, can you go for coffee during the day and then have dinner at night?
I used to. Yeah. Because I literally, if I put on makeup and I put on an outfit, I'm going to get a lot of bang for my buck. I've done 3 in a night and I'm not ashamed. I don't think there's anything wrong with that because it's like, you do 3 things and it's like it's a big effort to go out, you know, especially as you get older. I'm like, I put on like $20 worth of makeup on my face. Like I can't be doing that multiple times a week. And also if I drink, like I only like to try. I mean, I love to drink. That's the problem. So I try to only drink like, you know, 2 or 3 nights a week. So I got to get one. If I'm going to have cocktails, I might as well go. Listen, if you are being safe,
there's nothing wrong with it.
If you are being safe and you are being respectful, to me, personally, I wouldn't be sleeping with multiple people at the same time. That's just me personally, but I don't judge that. I think it's fine. As long as you are being safe, you can get to know multiple people at a time. 100%.
I just casually looked towards the canal and I saw what I thought was a mannequin.
August 2nd, 1998, the body of a brilliant young scientist is found dead near the campus of Georgetown University. It was a gruesome scene.
Walking up to the body, it became apparent that there had been a sexual assault.
For more than 6 years, D.C. police had no leads and no suspects. Then, another disturbing discovery. She wasn't his only victim.
As these cases went on, the more the victims resisted, the more violent he became.
One man committing a series of heinous crimes against women, but then he just stops. 10 years go by, then 20. What would it take to finally crack the case wide open? I'm Paul Wagner. Join me for Unknown Subject, Season 3 of WTOP's American Nightmare podcast series, available October 4th on all podcast platforms.
Is it cool to make an excuse to leave a date early? So like, if you're miserable, can you say like, listen, should people say like, listen, I'm glad we met. This really isn't for me and leave? Or are you hurting someone's feelings that way? Should you fake it and ghost them? Obviously you don't want to do that. So what's the best way?
I think it's a little bit harsh to be like, I'm not enjoying this date and leave. I think you can fake it and be like, I'm sorry. Like, I'm kind of feeling a little off. I'm going to go home. You know, thanks. And then you text them the next day and be like, I always say, this is my anti-ghost text. You say, hey, it was great getting to know you. I thought about it and I don't feel a romantic connection and I think you're awesome and I don't want to waste your time. I know you're looking for the real thing and so am I. So good luck out there. Easy.
Well, I feel like that's respectful. That's right.
How
that's
freaking easy is that to send that text versus like, lying or ghosting or slow ghosting or fading or benching or all the other things. Like, it's just so easy. But yeah, you can definitely lie to leave. I've pulled the, like, I don't feel well card for sure.
Okay. Okay. So here's another question I have for you. And this is some scenarios that I've heard from my listeners. Okay. So if you find a person you really like and you're interested in kind of moving into a relationship, okay, and you want to move to the next step, right? Then the person says to you, listen, I really just want to take it slow. Like, I don't want to, and you want to move fast, but they literally tell you, no, like, I want to take it slow. What do you feel about this? Like, is that a yellow flag right there? Or
to me, I can be a little bit black and white about this stuff. To me, if someone says, I want to take it slow or this or that, I don't buy it, because if it's the right person,
they're never going to want to take it slow.
They're never going to want to take it slow. If they are truly into you, if they truly see potential with your relationship, they will never want to take it slow. And they wouldn't, like, even if they were, not in the position to be in a relationship, it doesn't matter. We've seen it 100 times. Someone says, I'm not ready to date, or I'm not ready to get married. They meet someone, they're engaged in 6 months because it's the right person. Like, right. I don't believe in right person, wrong timing. Like, I don't believe in that. And a lot of people are like, who will write to me and be like, oh, it's just the timing's wrong. The timing's wrong. I'm like, if they wanted to be with you, they'd find a way to be with you. Are there loopholes? 100%. If they're like in medical school and working 24 hours a day, or if they're like have to go to live in Japan for 6 months, like, yeah, for sure. Then that's right. Timing. But if they're just like not really in a place to be in a relationship, they just don't like you that much. And what happens a lot is then a girl will accept that. She'll be like, oh, okay, he doesn't want to date seriously right now, I'll wait around for him. She turns around and all of a sudden he's seriously dating someone else. Happens all the time.
Yeah, because he just doesn't have the balls to say, like, listen, I really don't want to do this with you, because he wants to hold on to her in case he doesn't find something better. Yeah. He doesn't want to let go of everything. He doesn't want to keep all his eggs in one basket.
Totally.
They want, and a lot of women, then they get strung along and they're waiting around when they can just be moving on,
Exactly.
And vice versa. I've definitely seen women, drag guys through the mud as well and kind of just keep them around where they're just as guilty as needing a lot of attention and, want everyone to be attracted to them and want to be with them, and they don't know what they want either. Yeah. But I am a huge believer in what you just said, which is like, there's no time or place. Like, when they want it, they want it. There's no, like, let's take it slow. They can't breathe until the next time they see it.
Exactly.
They literally, especially in the beginning, it's like
100%.
They're holding their breath until they can, like, get you on the phone. It almost 100%. Feels like you're 14 again, and you get that feeling.
Yeah. And like, I don't want to make too many generalizations, but I think in like straight male female relationships, when a guy likes you, like, he's literally freaking out. Like, he's planning the next date while you're already still on the date. He's calling you to like ask how your dog is. Like, he will find any excuse to chat with you. And it's like, once you have that once, I always tell people, like, remember the last time you were in love? Remember that feeling? Now compare it to this like situationship garbage that you have going on. Like, we convince ourselves like, oh, like all these things, whatever. When a guy likes you, it is so painfully obvious. They're like freaking out. They're possessed until they can like see you again.
You can feel it. Girls, you can feel it when he wants you. You can just feel it. I know you want to ignore the signs when you don't feel it, but just feel it, because it's just, when you know.
Exactly.
All right. Well, listen, I do this fun little segment. It's called Grill with Gorga.
Amazing.
We're going to ask you some fun rapid fire questions, okay, about you, so we can get a little Tinx info. Okay. We want to learn about this great relationship expert here. So who was your first celebrity crush?
Vin Diesel.
Ooh.
Yeah.
That's a first.
He does it for me. Like, he's so masculine. And like, I saw him in that movie Triple X, and he was like a spy, and he had that big shag coat on, and I don't know, it just did it for me.
He's just like badass. Rough,
he's a badass.
Bald guy.
Yeah.
Your favorite 90s song?
Bye 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 by NSYNC. Loved it.
Bye.
It's so good. Pop anthem.
Everybody loves it. What's your biggest regret?
I I had one boyfriend. I don't really believe in regrets. I think if you can learn from everything, and everything happens in our life for a reason. I do believe in silver linings. I have one boyfriend where I'm just like, I could have skipped him. He was just a bad egg and just could have gotten those 2 years of my life back. But I feel like we all have one of those.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I don't know many people who don't have at least one regret with a relationship.
Yeah.
Best decision you've ever made?
I think taking a chance on myself and moving to LA. You know, I had already moved from San Francisco to New York, and I was like 29, and I was like, God, should I move again? And everyone was like, you shouldn't move. Like, you're just running away from your problems. And I was like, I just have a gut feeling that I should move to LA, and I'm so glad I did.
Good. You're happy there. You love it.
Yeah. Yeah, I am for now.
What is your pet peeve? What drives you crazy?
Okay, it's really specific. It's like when people are really precious about their fruit and vegetables. So like, for example, if people see a bruise on an apple and like they won't take it or they won't eat it, or like the banana is a little brown and they like won't eat that part, it like annoys me to no end. And I don't know why. It's so random and so specific.
And you want them to eat the bruised banana?
Yeah, or they'll open an avocado. There will be like one brown spot and they're like, ew, I
garbage.
And I'm like, you eat like Cheetos and like plastic, like terrible other stuff. Like, and you're not going to eat this tiny bruise on a fruit. I don't know. It annoys the shit out of me. I don't know.
Oh my God. That is a first. No one has
a really
ever
specific
said
one.
That to me for a pet peeve.
Yeah,
that is like very original.
Everybody says when other people are rude to wait staff. That's what everybody says. They're like, when people are rude to the waiter, that's my pet peeve. I'm like, that's not a pet peeve. That's just like being a decent human being. Like, obviously that's annoying. Like, think of a better one, guys. Come on.
Unbelievable. Okay. What was your worst date?
A guy told me, literally, we were at dinner and he was like, you don't have much in the chest department, do you? And I was like,
what?
I was like, oh my God. Like, I started bawling. Like, I should have said, had I been older, I was like 24, 25 at the time.
Wait, you started crying right there on the spot?
Yeah, I was like in a restaurant. He's like looking at my boobs, like saying you don't have much in the chest department. I was like, what the hell? He thought he was being funny. I just started bawling. I should have been like, you probably don't have much in the dick department.
Yeah,
I didn't. That was the comeback. Now,
if he would have said that to you now, like,
yeah.
So wait, you started crying, and how did he react? Was he like, "I'm sorry, I didn't mean to"?
Oh my God, the whole restaurant got involved. They were like, "Why are you crying?" I was like, "This guy just said this to me," and people were like, "Oh my God, this guy's a monster!" Like, I went running out. Like, it was a whole scene. It was a whole.
You
scene.
went running out,
literally.
Oh,
I was
wow.
like, dude, it's so disrespectful. Like, blah blah blah. It's so funny.
What was your first concert?
Green Day, which is so random. It's like not my personality at all. So
really?
Random. Yeah.
What do you listen to now?
I'm a pop girl. You know, I like Lady Gaga. I like Drake. I like Rihanna. I like, I'm a pop diva.
What is something about you that would surprise us?
That I'm messy, because I'm very like, I have a rule for everything. I have a list for everything. You know, I'm so anal about everything. And then I'm like such a slob. It doesn't fit at all, but that's just my little thing.
Okay. We were literally just talking about this on last week's episode, because I asked Joe what would be a yellow flag for him. And he's like, messy girls. I can't stand when I get in their cars and it looks like a bomb hit the inside
Mine's
of the car. There's
disgusting.
papers everywhere. There's cans. There's water bottles. He's like, you go into their apartments and they're a hot mess. He's like, but everything else is clean. You know, her body's clean. She's hot. She's this, she's that, but her room's a mess. That's like that's a yellow flag for Joe. He was saying
huge yellow flag. No, boys don't like it. Every time I like have a boyfriend, they're like, you are like disgusting. And I'm like, no, I know. My car, there's Diet Coke cans everywhere. It's a mess.
Oh my God. Okay. What's your favorite late night snack when you're on the couch at night?
I'm a chips girl. Like a salt and vinegar chip is so good to me.
I
like,
love a salt and vinegar.
It's so tangy and good.
They actually start to burn the inside of my mouth.
Yeah.
But I love them.
Yeah, I love that burn. It's so good.
What was your first job?
My first job was in retail when I was in high school. I just did helping out at a boutique, but I liked it. You know, I like saw that as my entryway into fashion. I was like, what better way to like, learn than to help customers. So it was great.
Well, there you go. What TV show are you binge watching right now?
oh my God, I love the Real Girlfriends of Paris. It's like,
do you love that? I heard it's getting a bad rap or something.
okay,
Is it good?
Like, I will die on this hill. That is my favorite type of reality TV. Like, I'm a Housewives person, but I love what people consider to be like the next level down on Bravo, which is like, you know, Ladies of London or NYC Prep or now this show. Like, I'm obsessed.
Like, you like level 2 Bravo.
I like level 2 Bravo. No, I literally, it's such a specific niche and I'm so obsessed with it. And I've been like tagging Bravo and I'm like, if this doesn't get renewed, I'm going to throw a bitch fit because it's just so relaxing to watch to me. And like Gallery Girls, I don't know if you remember that. Like, there's just so many good ones. So many
oh my
good
God.
ones.
That's interesting. I love that actually.
Yeah.
Way to go. Shout out to Bravo for all their secondary. I shouldn't even call that's me, right?
I know.
But, you know, Housewives are like their bread and butter. We all know this, right?
Exactly. Like obviously everybody loves Housewives, but I like tier 2.
Listen, it could be too high tension, high energy for some people. Some people, they can't chill watching Housewives, believe it or not.
Because it's intense. It's intense.
Yes, it's intense.
Yeah.
I always end with, how do you treat yourself? So if the day is all about Tinx, what are you going to do for the day?
Oh my gosh. I just love, I'm like basic. I like going to the beach. I like getting my nails done. To me, that is the best day, is to like work out, go to the beach, get my nails done with my friends, have margaritas, and then go to a really boozy dinner. That's like my dream.
Awesome. Tinx, this has been incredible. You have given us so much great advice.
Thank you for having
so
me.
much.
You're
and
wonderful.
For everyone, how to be like a strong, self-respecting woman. Listeners, make sure you check her out on Instagram and on TikTok. Her handle is at Tinx, TINX, right? Mm-hmm. And listeners, do yourself a favor and participate in her next AMA. You will not be disappointed. Thank you so much for coming on display.
That was so fun.
You are so much fun. I will have you back anytime. Hey guys, it's Melissa Gorga here from Melissa Gorga on Display, and I have a couple questions for you. Are you always sending your friends texts about the latest celeb drama? Or are you the one in the group chat recommending the latest TV shows and movies? If you're that type of person, you're definitely going to want to check out this great podcast. Betches Media presents the At Betches podcast, hosted by Betches founders Aileen Drexler, Jordana Abraham, and Sammy Sage, aka the OG Betches friend group. They're always laughing and gossiping about celeb drama. They rave and rant about their favorite TV shows and movies, and sometimes even leaking a spoiler or two. They talk about the latest in pop culture and lifestyle trends and so much more. Let me tell you something, these Betches get it. Come for the hot takes, stay for the group chat vibe. Listen to At Betches now on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. Again, that's At Betches from Betches Media.